Hi everybody, this is John Tapp again. So I just spare you my little video in the corner this time. Uh, this is the second in my New Zealand series. I'm going to do three for this New Zealand coding. This one I'm going to cover using Procoder with mooses. So just do a basic frequency and duration code. So first thing again is set up a code file in mooses. I've set that up. Went by the Word file again. If you watch the first one, that's the second page where she has some duration and frequency codes for the video coding from Procoder. And they match that. I noticed there's a weird character in here. I'm going to get rid of that real quick. Okay, so this matches the file that she sent. Again, we got groups. Group 0, we just care about the counts, and care about the duration in group 1. Notice I didn't have to fill out this stuff on the end because Procoder doesn't need that. That's for Lily, just to tell it how to lay the screen out. So these are descriptions, and I also made the codes just one character, so if you wanted to use quick keys, I'll show you how to use those in a minute. You could just memorize these keys and hit the key and it would code. It might be a little easier that way. I'll show you how that works when we get in Procoder in a second. So that's how our code looks, and again, Procoder's older, so the format of the code file is different. Mooses has all this other stuff that Procoder doesn't need, so rather than change everything, I just made mooses export into those formats. So it gives it a name of the same name with the PCDV on the front. So I've already got that. Let me go ahead and replace it. So this is video coding with Procoder. This is the Procoder code file. Want to replace it? Yes. Okay. So let's jump over to Procoder and go through the coding on that. So start Procoder, and I'm going to do on the file menu, new observation data file. Let me go ahead and put it in the observation stuff where Terra stuff is. It's in here. Terra. Hope I'm saying Terra right. It might be Tara. I'm Southern, so I can mess things up, I guess. Let's see. That would be starting with T, wouldn't it? ST Tara. Okay, so I've already got a test file. I'm just going to use that name, Procoder test, so I don't have to type. Save that, replace it, yes. Okay, so when you start these files, the first couple things you want to do is pick the media file that goes with it and the code file. So I'm going to go pick the code file, and it's this PCDV video code. And then I'm just going to pick I don't have her videos, so I'm going to just pick a video of me playing drums or something. Let's see, maybe this one. Open. And when I press the media button, it's going to show up. So there's me back there playing drums. Just so we have a video file to work with. This is a Windows Media Format file. Okay, so then in Procoder, you want to go up into Edit Options. We want to make sure they're set right. So there's the Options screen in Procoder. I'm using the default settings here. Probably want to set the replay button to go a little bit before and after, so we're going 3 seconds before and after when we hit replay. I'll show you how that works in a second. In the data options, you can pick whether you want to pick a list of the codes or pick a list of the code descriptions. It's probably best to pick the descriptions because it's just more English. If you want to turn on quick keys, then you can put the group to any. Okay, going to use intervals for this, so I'm going to uncheck that. And that's probably what the way we want the settings for this. We're just coding frequency and durations with Procoder. I recommend doing the intervals in a separate file, and then I have a merger program. You can ask me about that if you want to merge them. Okay, so our settings are set the way we want, and then when we go into the data tab over here, you notice that we have our groups. Let me turn comments off. We don't need comments in this. So that's in enter somewhere. Display the comment field. Okay. So then I'm going to adjust it. Oops. Okay, adjusted it. Okay, so we have our two groups here, and just to look at the code file. You can look at the code file. It loads in the background, so I'm going to show the one that's loaded, and it matches the moose's. Still got that weird character there. I don't know what that's about. Let me fix that. Okay, save that. And I'm just going to get that out of the way. So then you can use the menu here to play the video. I don't think you can hear it, but there's sound coming out. But then when you want to mark things, that's probably good to have this open. Show code file. So I can mark, there's a bunch of ways you can code. Turn this down. There's a bunch of ways you can code. You can, if you want to use quick keys, you can hit the first key, but I'm going to go through a slower way. You can just hit the mark key, or you can use mark on the menu here. Mark. And it'll mark the time. Double click these and it expands to what it needs to do. So I mark the time. If I mark it again, it's going to change it again. So if I want, and then you can add a row, and you can go to that row and mark the time. So then if you wanted to replay that, you can hit the replay button, and it'll play a little bit before and a little bit after 59. So you notice down here, it's going to go to 10245. Okay, so, and then you can pick the code that happened. So on your duration codes, you're going to want to, pick what it's in the whole time. If it changes, just change it. So just to show you how you could do this with quick keys, I have my play types on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I'm in here, make sure the grid's selected, and let me make sure the video's playing here. And then if I wanted to mark something, I could hit 1, and it would put it in. 2, 3. You can also play in slow motion if you want to, 3/4 speed. Slows it down a little bit, and then 1, 3, 4. Then my play types are P, physical. Oops. Yeah, that's not working. Hold on. I think I don't have the options set to group any. It's an important point. You want any group to work. Sometimes you might not want any group to work. Let's see if that fixed it. Yep. Okay, so then I want to hit physical or social or 1 or 2. Then it marks the time and enters a new code. That's probably the quickest way to code if you can manage it. And notice if I go back and move the video back a little bit, and I click the quick keys don't work unless this window is selected, so that's a common mistake. But then I can mark some more stuff like 1, 2, and notice it's before that, and then you can sort the grid by time with the F12 key. and it puts it back in the time that it's at. So and then say there's more physical, social, dramatic. I'm just hitting the key here, the D or the M or the N, and that goes ahead and puts the code in there. But again, they're not sorted by time, so I'm going to hit F12 and sort it back by time. So as long as you don't code the same thing twice, you can really be fairly random access about this, and when you're coding things. And it's best to learn these keys to control the video, because when you jump over to the video, it becomes the live window, and then my keys don't work, so nothing works because the video is the live window. If this is the live window, then my 1 works again, my 2 works again. Double click that, expand those out. So sort it back. And so this is we've coded stuff. I like to cover the whole time with the play type. So I'm going to insert a row there. I'm going to go mark 0. So I'm going to stop the video, go to the beginning. Okay. I'm going to mark something at 0 for my play type, because we want to cover the whole time. Say it's social play at the beginning. Alright, so that way we have the whole time covered by something, physical blah blah blah. And that's pretty much it. If I save this, it saves, and if I exit, I can exit without saving if I don't want it. That's the only way to not save it. So if you close it, it'll save it. So I'm gonna close Procoder, and I want to show you a lot of that stuff in the initial setup, the media file and the code file. As long as you don't move them around, it keeps that. So when I close Procoder, I'm going to exit it. When I go open that file again, that Procoder file, was it Procoder test? Yeah. Then it knows that already, and it loads everything up. So that some of that, the point is, some of that's just initial setup for a event data file. So we've got a data file, we've got data in it, and let's jump over to Mooses real quick and do some analysis on it. Okay, I kind of forgot to cover this last time, but in the analysis preferences, there's the input file format, and the default is the Mooses, and that was fine for the last one, but for this we're going to use Procoder file, so we want to tell it that. And just for argument's sake, we'll convert the times to seconds. Then we're going to use the first and last time for start and end time. You can use the file header area. I'll show you where that is real quick. Like if you you control click to mark the start and end time in a video, then it can use that for the start and end time instead. But normally the default is people use the first time and the last time in the file for the start and end time. Okay, and that would be this selection over here. So we've got it set for Procoder files. Save it. We've got code file editor. I think that dash thing is going to mess it up. Let's see. Be a good illustration if it does. So I'm going to pull the Procoder file in here to do some analysis on it. Run selected analysis. Okay, so whoops. I want to go in a text file and clear that. Run selected. Okay, read it fine. And let me do a frequency and duration on that. And it did frequencies and durations on that. I guess I didn't pick the one with the problem. Oh yeah, I did. Well, it worked, so it matched. Okay, and a careful note here is if you're going to use code descriptions in Procoder, don't change them, because then it won't match. It'll whine. This is, I can't find that. I can't find that. So the strings have to match each other. If you use codes, then the codes have to match each other. But the reason I use these short one character codes is so you could use the quick keys easily. Okay, so that pretty much covers that. In the next video, I'm going to look at how we'd set up Procoder to do an interval system. Another aside here is if you keep these time unit files, it'll show you it makes a file that shows you every second. So here's that. So it shows you what was on in every time unit. And I changed it to seconds, but this would be more if you didn't change it to seconds. And this is the header stuff that if you put in the Procoder file, it'll be up here on the top. And again, just like the last video, if you want to go to a comma separated file, let me clear that and run that. You get the header business, file name, and frequencies and durations of each code in a row. I'm going to save it. That covers the basics of it. Next video, I'm going to look at how to set up Procoder to do an interval code. That's pretty cool. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.